Live. All right, we are going live on YouTube, StreamYard through YouTube, and we are live on Instagram. Hey, everybody, Jessica Alstrom here. I know I have been guilty of not being on the Monday mindset as I have in the past. Time is one of those dragons I think that we face when we get to the end of the hell journey of the third dimension, as most of us are working collectively to really break free from, oops, we're losing here. I think I'm gonna have to move this. Okay, stay. It's not wanting to compress. Hi guys, hey everybody. Be patient with me as I try to get this thing set up here. Hopefully that will stay. 1 second. All right, so Monday mindset. I really wanted to come on here today and give you guys some tools and some answer to some of your questions that I've been getting emailed, but realistically, just true things that I've been going through and working on finding ways to make changes in our lives, in my life, that can kind of facilitate the whole. I think I'm gonna have to move this. Hold on. It's wanting to break. Good timing, right? Okay, 1 second. Ugh. Okay, we're gonna have to just put this here. All right, guys. I'm gonna do my best here. All right, so Monday mindset. I have not been on here for a while because honestly, I have been working on my new workshop, teaching my master class, which is Becoming Superhuman. I have my fellowship group, and I also have been working on my damn self, which I think all of us are finally getting the memo that we can't all just be teachers without being doers. And that's really where it comes to, is how do we do without doing? Really, when we get into this more expanded expression of our journey, you're going to realize that the way that you're wanting to communicate and live, you cannot live anymore, because what this new world is based out of is love. And although we have always considered ourselves to be truly loving, kind beings, in order for us to get to the higher realms of consciousness, we have to be living from the heart. And not the heart where we're feeling guilty and feeling shame and feeling worried. That's not love. That's not love. When you really start to get into the higher levels of consciousness, that is not love at all, because love is eternal. Love is kindness. Love is awareness of itself being truly omnipresent. And so when we are worried, or we have this fear of loss, or we get really needy and attached, that isn't real love. That is not real love. And as we're finding, that has been torture. Attachments and neediness and kind of that greediness of energy has really put us into this kind of trap with ourselves. It has made our bodies sick. It has broken up our relationships. It has messed up our families. And so many of us have done all of the spiritual work of gaining the awareness. We've done the personal development trainings. We've spent the monies. We've gone to the retreats. We've done the ayahuasca. And now what? Now what? Well, the truth is that now we have to embody everything. We have to put everything together that we have learned and begin to remember how to take the next step. So in the 3D, or in the system that most of you are trying to manifest your way out of, you have to understand that it is a totally inside job. It's going to be, the way out is within. And as we get into these higher spaces, you're going to notice that you're less motivated to do. You don't want to work for a system that has enslaved you. You don't want to follow the authoritative rules of manipulation. You're tired of being programmed. You're tired of being controlled. You're tired of being owned, right, by your social security number. And you understand in theory that all of this should be pretty easy, as you can just manifest your way out. But it doesn't work that way, because most of us we're using law of attraction to try to manifest our way out, not manifesting. So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, what is the difference between law of attraction and manifestation? Well, first of all, law of attraction is just a law of the universe. That means like attracts like. So if you can get yourself into the vibration of that which you desire, then you will draw forth to that, because it's going to be a magnetic charge of like attracts like. But the thing that law of attraction does not share with you is that you are here as an alchemist. You are a creator consciousness. And so you don't manifest with just your desire. You manifest with every part of you. And that's truly what alchemy means, all of me. Alchemist, all chemical. You're manifesting, or you're drawing forth through law of attraction all that you are. So let us say that the average light worker, empath, sensitive being is loving and kind and generous and of service and has desires to connect and be part of a tribe and has all these amazing gifts to give, but also has buried shame, buried guilt, buried resentment, tons of judgment, fear, worry, anger, okay? And maybe it's stored at a cellular level because you don't let it out very often, or you kind of like stay to yourself. But remember, alchemy is all of me. So when you are working with law of attraction and you are working to draw something to you, your soulmate, your perfect job, a bunch of money, you're using all of yourself to do that. And so what you get back, if you have, let's say your ego has is leading more with like pride that is masking shame or guilt, then you're going to manifest money that you're going to feel guilty for having, or it's going to shame you somehow. You're going to need to ask for help for it. And so it's always going to backfire. And this is why people get back to their manifestation toolbox and are like, what is wrong here? What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. It's perfect. It is a perfect system, but we have to realize what part of us is magnetizing and drawing forth. And so when you come into this particular virtual reality, you are in a state of duality. You are going to be that ego separation, perspective, persona, identity that the program has given you by basically shaming and guilting you and causing you to have a discord between who you are and what you know. And so where we are right now is a huge conflict between what I am and where I am. That seems to be the biggest like conflict, because we are really truly beginning to go, I am God, I am creator, I am angelic, whatever your I ams are these days. You are really getting solid in that affirmation. And affirmation means to make firm. Okay. That's what you're solidifying when you are expressing to the universe that which you desire. But you have to understand is that below that surface consciousness of your awareness is the subconscious. And the subconscious has a script on you. This script is what we would call your karmic blueprint. It is the accumulation of everything that you've been in this life and others that have kind of beckoned forth. It's your unfinished business. It's your baggage, and how it plays out in your physical reality until you take hold of it is your astrology. Now, look at where we are, guys. I'm no astrologist, but in this idea of 3D, there's always a hero and a villain. And in our 3D story, you are playing a child of God, and the villain is Satan, or we could say Saturn. So in your astrology chart, you have Saturn, which is kind of like that dominant control. It's going to be where your agreements are. It's going to be where the strongholds are held. And we are in a Saturn retrograde right now for the next 4 months. So it's kind of like Judgment Day. And so you'll see for the next 4 months that all of your old control issues, authority issues, system issues, fears you didn't even know you had about leaving the matrix are going to be surfacing, because retro means to go reboot, re-back, right? It's going to pull forth those feelings that you didn't know you had as you're trying to move forward and manifest. You're going to be manifesting all of you to the surface. Now, how is this a good thing? It's the best thing that could happen to us, although it is very difficult. It is one of the best things that can happen to us because it manifests or brings forth, right? Tracks to you all of that you are. So, if you have been doing your spiritual alchemy work, if you have been doing your personal development, if you have been working on your affirmations and working on your self concept and working to repattern that subconscious mind, well, then you probably have a decent relationship with this new, I wouldn't say new, it's always been there, but an inner voice that literally loves you. Like when shiz is hitting the fan, you probably have this voice that's like, everything's going to be okay. We're here. It's going to work out. It always works out. It's subtle. It's a very simple, loving voice. It's not loud like ego. We got to do this right now, but it's there. And if you have that voice, you are 99.9% of the way. Because until you have that voice in chaos, you are going to get sucked in to needing the system. You're going to need to call your best friend. You're going to need to go make money. But if you have that voice now, if the work that you have done gives you a sense of, I'm proud of you, you are not giving up, you may not be getting this yet, but you're doing great. If you have that, you're there. But what you have to do now is you have to make that voice the dominant voice, because you are going to have to go into all of this pain body that has been storing and accumulating from your avoidance, from your denial, from our pride, from the masks that we had to wear, from the chameleon states that we've been in relationships. And it is all kind of like the final hour of settling up. What I'm calling it in my workshop is the reconciliation, or kind of like that judgment idea of not being judged whatsoever, but having all of you on the line, the parts of you that were programmed, the parts of you that are real, and you get to choose with that inner voice where you go from here. Are you going to believe that shame and guilt are going to be the driving force of your behavior? Or are you going to realize that in nature, the way that God created the world, shame and guilt didn't exist? When you are in your heart, even when you speak your truth and it might hurt someone's feelings, that is a necessary expression. But when you have been guilted and shamed, you don't want to necessarily guilt and shame others. So you might be more hesitant to speak your truth. You become a people pleaser, and then basically you become a punching bag. Right? So many of you know that now that you're beginning to kind of like love yourself, why is it that as you start to exit, that self-love equals your villain era, right? Because by loving myself and giving myself the love that I wanted from other people my whole life, well, then I may not have a lot to share the way I always have. And because I was giving away my very essence, I was bleeding out, I was exhausting myself, I was breaking myself for love and affection from others. And when you kind of like stop that behavior and you start to turn that energy in, all those people and things that were so used to you generously giving your very essence, that necessarily weren't around to help you when your cup was empty, are now acting like you're the bad guy. And we all have to go through this. So as you get to the final, like the final boss of the third dimensional matrix, you're going to realize that it's self-love game, 100%. And you also want to understand that what you put in is what you get out, because that's law of attraction. You're not attracting what you want. You're attracting what you are, all of you. So if you have a tendency to judge other people, if you have a tendency to shame other people or guilt other people into getting what you want, if you feel guilty, if you feel shame within, that is going to be the part of the ingredients that you're using to manifest. This is why when you really kick on your law of attraction work or your manifestation tools, it seems like all hell breaks loose. And that is the reason why. So how can we get to this next level of truly embodying the work? You guys always see on my Instagram channel, it looks like I'm always pushing the perfect body, but it has nothing to do with the body. It has everything to do with a vehicle. This is your biology of manifestation. This is the blueprint of your mind. So whatever health condition or state of being your body is in, it will let you know where your subconscious programming is. And so if you have chronic illness, chronic exhaustion, okay, you are, not loving the way that you're aging or whatever your body story is, that will tell you subconsciously what you believe about you. Okay, and what you are actually believing about yourself. One thing that I know, guilty from the spiritual journey, is that you're constantly always trying to outrun yourself and be better and get better and do better and have better. So then you can take all the better and go back and clean up all the mess that you made when you were super unaware, when you were, being a people pleaser, when you got yourself into debt or whatever it was. And so that's kind of like our objective is, I know I will manifest my dream reality, and then I will clean up all the shame and guilt from the past with my manifestations. And it don't work that way. So you get put through this excruciating test through the work of self-love by people not loving you, by you getting yourself into trouble and you're having to be the love on the other end. It's almost like it's a completely backwards expression of what we thought would be. And so when we are living in the third dimension, the way that you are told, this is not true, but the way that you're told that you are valuable is that if you do, then, and you have, well, then you will be someone. But if you study fourth dimensional work, fifth dimensional work and up, you realize that it always starts with your state of being that creates your reality. So as we get into the fourth density, which is the heart, loving connection, unity consciousness, it is where communities will actually be truly loving, not total spiritual ego, where you're like, what's going on here? But it will be true love. Then you will realize that you're going to start in the state of being. That's going to inspire you to do something. And then from that doing, you will have. But what ego says is, I have to have in order to do so that I can be. And this is what we have been chasing. So when that plug gets pulled from you, and if you know your plug is pulled, it means things are not working the way they used to work for you. Things are not moving and flowing the way they used to flow for you. This is your opportunity to now change the game. And this new game is to be the love that you never received, to be who within, through your own imagination, through your own trials, through your own awareness, through your own choice, through your own discernment, to choose truly who you want to be without any evidence or circumstances that it's true. And to pre-attend this coming attraction and live and create the vibration and create the frequency inside of you of the who you really are, not the what the world has told you to be. And then from that will then create a series of bridge of incidents that will align to you a way, a how. So ego says, I need to know how and when before I can move. And spirit says, I will be, I will vibrate, I will feel, I will experience, and then I will be inspired to move in the direction of that which I am. And this is the most difficult thing, because really the work from 3D to 4D is to move from the solar plexus to the heart. And it's like, it looks like it should be that much. That's why I said 99.9% you're there. But this right here is what we call the walk through the shadow of death, because the solar plexus is your doing. It's your incessant need to study and seek and get more knowledge and take more classes and be better and do better and share and do all these things. And it is this anxious kind of excitement approach to devouring and consuming betterness. And as the time of the ego starts to run out, you are feeling like, oh, I just need one more class or I need one more coaching session. But really what you need is to let go of all the doing and learn how to be the beer that will create the doing. Because really, when we're down here in the solar plexus that is anchored into the root of suffering, sacrifice, scarcity, lack, authority, slavery, you've got to do a lot to just stay mediocre. And when you start to move that energy, that Kundalini energy up those two bottom chakras into the solar plexus, the ego's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, co-create. I got to find my person. I got to get the money. And really, when you start to move into the heart's like, we're perfect. Everything we need is right here. Stop doing and just be. And this is the most difficult thing, because in order for you to get to the next level of this video game, you have to stop doing your identity. You have to stop being your old persona. You have to stop engaging, reacting, and interacting. Stop the scenario thinking of what if, and really get deep into the stillness. Be still and know that I am God. This is the activation point for the fourth density, is to be in the feeling state, to be in the state of being, just like wherever you live. Florida has its weather. California has its stuff. So the state of being that you want to be in is now your choice. Right? What is the most loving life I could create? Okay, good. Vibrate on that. Be still in that. Feel in that. And so what you're going to do is you're going to let go of this massive amount of doing, especially ladies who are like really anchored in your super independent. I don't want any help. I want to do this by myself, or I secretly want help, but I got to do it by myself because no one's here to help me. You're going to have to let go of that masculine, purpose-driven action of your day and learn to be still. Another way this is very difficult is because when you're still, you're going to start feeling all of those things that you ran away from. You're going to start to have to deal with those skeletons in your closet, because they are like, hello, you were running this whole time, but I've been right behind you. And again, if you look at your manifestations, then you will see that I really have been manifesting with all of me. It's like, I have a lot of shame, so then I'm going to manifest someone to shame me. I have a lot of secret guilt, so I'm going to manifest things that I constantly feel guilty about. I'm going to make mistakes. I have a lot of fear. I'm going to see my fears right in front of me. And if you are working to manifest, understand that manifest means party with my hands. So you have a left and a right. You have masculine, feminine energy. Everything you need to create reality is right here. Everything right here. You've got the masculine, which is the positive charge. You've got the feminine, which is the negative charge. And you have the neutral point, which is your heart. And when you understand that you have not been neutral of your own reality, and that you've been in judgment of your reality. So let's take basic biochemistry. All right, we've got a sperm and an egg, and it's going to fertilization. So we've got the positive charge, the seed. We've got the negative charge, the egg, that's going to anchor and ground that. And then we have the womb, which is the neutral void, which is the container. So this chemical connection can actually make something brand new from itself. So take this premise and look at you as a manifester. You're no different. You have a positive desire. You have a negative circumstance. Where is your neutral point? I bet you're not manifesting your desire because you're missing the neutral point. You've got the negative circumstance. You've got the positive dream. Where's the neutrality? Where's the non-judgment in that? What do? We have the positive desire that's like aching in our heart. And then we've got this negative circumstance. And what do? What do we do with our light? We actually judge the negative circumstance. So what happens is now alchemy can't work properly because I have too much negativity and too little positivity. So even though I think I'm love and light, I'm actually vibrating more dark than I am light. And now I'm too heavy in my negative charge, and I'm too light with my light charge, and now I'm not balanced. So what you're going to see in fourth density, unconditional love is about balance. It is not about ecstasy and passion. It is balance. So when this and this become balanced, it can only happen from a neutral point, which means you, the observer within you, are going to look at, okay, here's my positive desire. Here's my negative charge. Ooh, yay, I need a negative charge because this is going to amplify and really create friction for my desire. This is going to turn me on because without a negative charge, light would have no desire to create form whatsoever because light is everywhere. It's illumination, and dark is just heavy and dense. So they need the charge within each other in order to make something new. So hands, right? And then we've got our heart. Well, look at the word. It's H, art. You're making art with your physical biology here. Your masculine and feminine energy, your positive desires and your negative circumstances, your negative so-called limitations are just the same as your light. But as soon as you judge what the negative charge is, you fall out of balance. And now the neutral container is no longer safe. This can't happen. You cannot heal. You cannot make anything new if there is not a neutral observer that is working with your alchemical processing. You cannot. And if you are judging, let's say you're judging your light because, oh, I'm afraid to shine. I'm afraid that someone's going to hurt me if I shine bright, and I'm judging my light. Well, what happens there? You actually become more dark because you're judging your own light. So the number one thing is not really that you're taking too much action. The number one issue with your manifestation and what you are attracting with law of attraction is judgment. Judgment for yourself, judgment for your past, judgment for other people, judgment of what other people are choosing to do and say and be. And every time a very good, kind, loving empath judges, you are creating more karma for yourself that throws you out of balance. So as the light increases, so does the dark, because God doesn't make mistakes. It's perfectly balanced all the time. So if we weren't aware of all this darkness, we would not be expanding our light because it's always perfect. So for you to walk into your fourth density and live from the heart, you have to start being this neutral version observer for your own creation. You have to really let go of the shame, the guilt, the humiliation, the resentment. And again, like I've done lots of this work in my workshops, but this Sunday as my gift, just because I have just taken myself through massive amounts of this work, and it has been game changing. All right. Because again, as you start to get really close to your dreams, it seems like all hell breaks loose. And I want to offer you guys this free webinar, and I'm going to give you some alchemy tools. So how to balance this, how to let go of judgment, how to get right and really reconcile your own energy and take stock of your frequency, your desires, your why, right? Your why is so important right now. If you do not have a carrot that you're following, you cannot create a new timeline. If you do not know exactly where you're going, you don't need to know how to get there or when you're going to get there, but what you are creating, then you're going to, by default, not have enough of a desire to counteract your painful circumstances. But remember, this charge is required. You cannot have anything working or alive without this 3-point Trinity charge. It is required. So you have to say, am I too dark? Am I too light? Or am I judging both? And that's why I'm getting judgment coming at me. So remember, you attract what you are. So what are you manifesting right now? Who and how are people speaking to you? What are you able to create? What are you able to not so create? And so what programs from the past are you recycling? These are all things you want to pay attention to, because no amount of spiritual knowledge is actually embodying. So one of the things about spiritual ego that happens is our regular ego starts to get very intelligent the more we study. The more personal development we work, the more reels we watch, we start to get this really big awareness of spiritual knowledge. But until the body knows, until the body can do this automatically, until the body knows how to just change from, feeling sad back into love on its own, you don't know it. You do not know how to drive a car until you can do it without doing it. So you do not know how to get to the next level of your ascension process without your body being one step with you or ahead of you. You don't know it. And so who controls the body if it isn't you? Well, it's that ego persona. So let's say on your right hand in positive charge, you have your child of God identity. It is, I am worthy. I am confident. I am courageous. I am life. I am love. All right. So this is what you have. And on the other hand, the negative charge, you have, I am unworthy. I am shamed, or I have no confidence. I have fear. I have major loss and failures. All right. And then I have the grief there. So if you look at one hand and you look at the other hand, you have duality within you. You have the ego identity and you have the spiritual identity. And what your job is to do is to bring that love together and heal the parts of yourself with your own self-love. Because ain't nobody going to show up and whisk you away and save you. You will manifest someone coming and helping you when you begin to help yourself. And it works through body awareness. That's why I'm always pushing you guys to get the body that you desire, because then it works for you. You are not a slave to the pleasure of desires. You're not a slave to what it wants to eat and where it wants to go. You're not shamed of it. You're not feeling guilt about what you're doing to it. And therefore, you become a united front. You become in union with your true twin flame, your true soulmate, and you will not get into force density without this being your number one. So this is kind of what the questions that I've been getting asked this last week. What is law of attraction? How do we get into non-duality state? And really, non-duality is about letting go of judgment and recognizing that everything is perfect, both negative and positive in your life. So if you have a lot of darkness in your life or a lot of negative circumstances, it just means that you are very light and you have no idea how bright your light is, because it has to match your darkness perfectly in order for creation to exist. So when you judge the dark, you judge the negative circumstance, you judge evil, then what you are doing is you are giving your life force energy and focal point to that, and it is actually bringing your value down on what you can manifest. It is making you more dark. So that is pretty much my Monday mindset for today. And I just wanted to kind of like get back into the loop of doing this, because as I've been teaching several classes and workshops, I've also simultaneously been working out my own hell and working out my own imbalances. And what has been torturing most of us is that we know who we are, but why are we where we are? And that is the big question that can feel like hell, because we should ourselves a lot. I shouldn't be here. I should be doing this. So if any of this resonated today, and maybe you're hearing me for the first time, or maybe even following me for a while, if you can or would like to join me on Sunday of this particular week, it's 7/7 at noon, I am gifting you a free hour-and-a-half webinar, and it's going to be tools, right? We don't need more spiritual teaching. How do I do this? How do I stop doing, but give me something to do? So that's what I'm going to offer. I'm going to give you something to do so that it will be an activity. So you're not just sitting in the stillness for years, but you're going to be utilizing your own negative and positive energy. You're going to remember how to create a neutral charge for yourself, and collapse that wave to bring you back to 0 point energy, so that you can become a true quantum particle and you can work. Your life will work for you. So if you are looking for quick expansion because you feel like you've really done the work, then you probably are 99.9% there. But you've got to now go into your rebalancing, your reconciliation, because again, Saturn in retrograde is like going back to all of the things that broke you. And what's awesome is we can go back now with the love that we have for ourselves, that we've earned, that we've worked so hard to gather these last few years on this journey. And all you need is that. All you need is that quiet, subtle voice when all hell is breaking loose, that everything's going to be okay. And if you have that, you are 99.9% of the way. So I invite you to join from the link. I've got it on my bio in Instagram. It's on this particular StreamYard link. It's on the Instagram feed. And it's also a Facebook group. There's a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, you can get it from my Alchemist page and just register. You'll get the Zoom link. And once we actually create it live and it's archived, if you have registered, you'll be able to watch it at another time if you can't make it live, but at least you'll have the link. Then we'll share it in my school app, which is our online classroom that we have there. So again, you guys, it's your time, but you're not going to get there by doing out in your world. You're going to get there by being the doer within. And you're going to learn truly how you are the alchemist. You are the alchemical. You are all of you. And how to create a happy family within of a loving understanding of how important negative energy is for your expansion. Without the negative energy, you would just be a ball of light. So now you get to create form. You came here to create heaven on earth. But heaven has to be anchored down into density through a negative charge held by a neutral womb or observer. So thank you guys so much for joining me. This was fun to get back in, and hopefully I will be able to do these every Monday, if not every other Monday. And I have a feeling I'm going to be doing some more webinars as we move along, just to give my aspect of service. This is my highest joy, to help others the way that I'm being helped, the way I'm being guided. And just since I've been doing my own work, I have been able to access a lot more of my own inner guidance, which was underneath shame and guilt, So as you remove shame and guilt, wow, there's a whole bunch of spiritual gifts under there. So there's lots to look forward to in the letting go. There isn't getting anything. It's just letting go and unpacking your baggage in a safe, loving way where you truly understand that the negative darkness that you so-called have experienced or are experiencing is actually part of your formula for creation. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. All right. There we go. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.